All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Sorry about the delay. I got a really important phone call that I could not ignore, like just as I was starting up, and I had to answer it. So it's all good now. I'm ready. Let's get rolling. Okay, the only other thing was I didn't quite fully set up everything the way that it should be. Let's see. Today is our first strength training routine. And I didn't do the full kind of intro to the strength training routine during the introduction. So I'm going to save that for the next perspective session. Those are on Mondays in the evenings. Check the schedule. And there I'll talk about everything important to know about strength training. That is, if you're really interested in the kind of the fine details. For example, questions like, how do I gain muscle mass? Like, what's important about gaining muscle? Is it the number of reps? Is it the weight I do? Should I be doing, 2 to 3 reps? Should I be doing 15 reps? Questions like that. So I'm going to go into detail, all those nitty-gritty details, because it'll probably take about an hour to do just itself. There's a lot there. So for now, I'm going to do a full body workout, and let me just briefly describe how I came to this particular workout. Well, there's a lot to it, and I'll get to the kind of deeper stuff on Monday, but I decided a full body workout versus a particular split like push-pull legs or upper-lower, because if I do those kind of splits like upper-lower and then people don't do all the workouts, then they're going to end up missing one of the sections of their body. Maybe they'll miss leg day or they'll miss upper day, and that's maybe not the most helpful. I think it's a lot easier just to do the full body every day, and you can come to any number of these you want to each week. Maybe you just can come to one, or maybe you want to come to both. Either way, if you only come to one, you'll get a full body workout every time. So that's kind of my reasoning for that. Now, as for the aim towards like who's this for, beginners, intermediates, I would say definitely beginner. My goal is to start very easy, very chill, and slowly work my way up in the difficulty and progressions, so that if you follow along the whole time, you'll be able to like work on your own progressions. If you jump in later, it may be a bit more difficult, but occasionally I'll jump back as well and do more beginner stuff. But at any time, you can always do a progression that works for you. So for example, if I say, let's do some push-ups, and you can't do a push-up, like just a normal push-up on your feet and your hands, that's okay. You can do a knee push-up, right? You can do a wall push-up. You can do a push-up, just against a shelf like this. So I'm gonna release a document probably on Monday where I go over all these different kind of progressions. There's so many different progressions for different exercises to make it easier or harder depending on where you are yourself. So for example, pull-ups. A lot of the times I'll say, let's do some pull-ups. And if you're not ready to do a pull-up, maybe you'll be starting with just negatives, where you start on the bar like this and you just go down and you resist the downward motion. If you're really good on pull-ups, maybe you're going to be doing one-arm pull-ups already. So you just find the progression that is good for your current strength level, that aligns with your goals. With that said, let me do a little bit more setup here. What do we need? We need to move the cat ball out of the way. We need to orient the camera so it's a bit lower, so you can see what I'm doing. Let me get my gloves, my socks on. There's one glove. Where's the other glove? Move this aside. Wow, this is such a wide angle. I'm impressed. Move that over a little bit. Now, as I wrote on the schedule program, if you took a look at that, this will be a repeat of information, but, excuse me, I'm going to try to follow a program. That is, there's going to be specific times for each exercise, specific set amounts of rest, etc. So, I encourage people to, write comments, say things, but I won't be as engaged with chat because I'm going to be trying to follow this program so that people, when they want to work out with me, they can just reliably know, okay, Nathan's program, this is a 35-minute program, this is a 45-minute program, whatever, and it'll be that amount of time. So since I'm going to be demonstrating these exercises myself and showing different variants, I want to stick to these times. So I won't have as much time to be like, engaging in chat. I'll try to say hi, if you're a frequent visitor and such, but won't be as much engagement as I try to stick to the routine. And then afterwards, once we're all done, happy to answer any questions and have further discussions with folks. All right. So pull up, full body. So this particular program there's a 5-minute warm-up, which has 15 unique exercises, like warm-up exercises. And then the program in total is 45 minutes. That includes that warm-up. And therein there's about 13 unique exercises. And I built it I basically made this like really super long list of different exercises that I like and the muscle groups they targeted. And I made sure to pick a selection of exercises that targeted pretty much every muscle in your body. Now, not quite every single one. There's no like jaw exercises. Some muscles are not there, but pretty much every major muscle group that people care to shape is included. And it's pretty much it's practically a circuit workout. You're gonna get your heart rate up. There's not a lot of rest between exercises because I grouped them into quad sets, trisets. That is, I take an exercise such as pull-ups and then I follow it up with an exercise that's completely unrelated, like glute bridge or pull-ups. And so you don't need as much rest in between them. Of course, you'll be a little gassed. That's all right. If you can't keep up, just take a break. You're doing something, you're going at it, and you can't keep doing it. You just put your legs down. Just take a little break and just hop back in. I probably won't be able to do all these exercises, completely through without taking a break myself. And if you are, that might be a good sign to work on a more difficult progression. Because basically I set it as time rather than focusing on reps. So no rep counting, just adhere to the times, keep going as long as you can, take breaks as you need, and if things become too easy for you, if you're able to do the exercise that I describe the entire minute without being gassed at all, consider moving to a harder progression. And I'll try to explain some of the progressions that I know of along the way. All right, so without any further ado, since we're already a bit late, let's get started. Oh, and lastly, what do you need? Technically, nothing but your body. However, some things will certainly help, especially in the long run. So, for example, having a mat or something. This is like tile floor, kind of hard. It's okay for certain things. You can do push-ups on tile, no problem. But there might be some other things where you're on your back, and you're, you don't want your spine to get hurt. Having a thick mat is helpful, or some sort of, you can do it on carpet or something. Other things that will be helpful is dumbbells. Now, you can do almost all of these exercises easily without any dumbbells. And for many people, that'll be fine. Like, just think about squats, right? You're doing squats. You can do body weight squats for quite a while and get pretty good muscle growth. But you'll find, after about a month or so of doing body weight squats and upgrading to jump squats, that having dumbbells really allows you to add load in a way to help you build some muscle that you might be interested in building, for example, with squats in your legs. Now, if you're not really looking to get super muscular, then maybe you don't even need dumbbells, or maybe you just need one pair of 5 pounds or something. So it just depends on your goals. And again, I'm going to go over all this stuff in detail on Monday, but for now, if you have a mat, I use exercise gloves. It just helps a little bit with grip and preventing calluses from, always being in my hands. Having a pull-up bar is kind of one of the few fundamentals. You can get one of those ones that goes in the doorway, or you can do something like I have, where, let me pull this up a bit. Where I've kind of mounted it to the wall here, and I just find this a bit more sturdy. I can do a bit wider grip, but yeah, just get one of those ones for like $15 on Amazon, where you can put it in your doorway, and that's a really simple solution. And everything else is purely optional. These are calisthenics rings, and I use them for a variety of different exercises. In particular, I can do dips on them because I don't have a dip station, but you can also do other progressions. If you need to do rows, you can do face pulls with these. There's a whole bunch of things, but just start light, get yourself a mat, get yourself a comfortable area, and a couple dumbbells. Don't have to go nuts with these, but usually you can buy them in sets of up to 25 pounds, like usually $150 in a set, for pretty cheap. Oh, and lastly, a bench. Not totally optional, totally not required as well, but I like to use it for certain exercises, but not super necessary. It just helps. You'll see as we get into each one. So let's begin. Let's do some jumping jacks. And let me get the timer started. We just want to get our heart rate up a little bit. We don't want to start working out without a warm-up, because that could lead to injury. And let me tell you, that's so easy to do. Anybody who's worked out for long enough, we all try to skip the workouts. We just want to go hard, go at it, get those muscles, and then we injure ourselves. All right, let's transition to high knees. Move this over to the side. I can't even see myself. All right, let's do some neck circles. We're just slowly moving our neck in its full range of motion in both directions. And if you feel a little crumpling, crackling in your neck, that's crepitus. It's okay, it's fine. Just if you're feeling pain, sharp pain, you want to avoid that. So just avoid that little section if it hurts for any of these exercises. Arm circles. You can start making it a little bit bigger and then go backwards. Gradually make them smaller. Some people put their fingers down. Here's another one. Really stretch forward and backwards, and you should feel maybe even a little crackling in your scapula, upper back. This is a good one. Let's do some shoulder rolls. You can start in one direction, Again, the full range of motion. We're not trying to rush through it. Full range of motion, really trying to get those shoulders warmed up. Let's do some wrist rotations. We're just kind of like lightly starting to move the wrists. We'll do some more of these. Turn down the sound a bit. Hip circles. Oh, yeah. Can throw in some ankle rotations on one side. Oh. Need to adjust that alarm. Some more ankle rotations. Alternating archer squat. Just gonna kind of get down on one side like this. Wow, this camera needs to be further back, it seems. It's not quite capturing everything that I want it to capture. Oh no. Great. Why is technology so bad? I wonder. It's interesting. All right, we're back. Yeah, it doesn't automatically just start working again. You have to go through some settings and kind of like finick with it a little bit. We missed some exercises. We have to go back. Technology, it's killing me. Some archer squats. This is a really good one, straddle rotations. I want you to bend down, touch near your ankle as far as you can, put your arm up, look backwards towards the sky, and switch. You should feel a stretch in your neck, in your spine, in your hamstrings. All right, multi-angle wrist rocks. When we put our hands on the floor on the mat, be on our knees. Wow, it's like impossible to capture everything I want to capture at once. Maybe I'm too tall. So get on your hands and knees. And be very gentle with this one. I guess that's a good lesson. I had set this up to be a very specific speed, but I realized the first couple times going through it, I really want to explain how to do these exercises safely. So I can't be rushing through it. So I actually need to extend the time, probably more like an hour rather than 45 minutes, but that's okay. So anyways, I paused just to explain this one because this one is very important to listen to. Your wrists are very delicate. They're quite a small part of the human body relative to other huge joints. So we want to take extra care not to injure them. So when you get on your hands or knees, kind of start a little bit further back. You're leaning more towards the rear a bit, but then slowly go forward. And I really mean slowly. Do not rush forward. So you just feel the slightest stretch in your wrist, and just play with that very slowly. We're just trying to get a little bit of stretch in the wrist. And you can kind of rock forward and back and to the side. And then you can do wrist clocks, and this is where you lift your hand and rotate like the hands of a clock. That's good. I like to go all the way back like this, and then just do a little bit more of those movement of my body. Kind of just stretch my wrist out a little bit. Again, you don't want to be going to painful sensations. Avoid the pain. But a little bit of a stretch is nice. You can also do this false grip, where you put your palms up like this, and you close your fingers and open your fingers. Again, be super careful. You can do a little bit of movement here, but super careful, because you got a lot of weight, putting on your tiny wrist, so it's very easy to injure yourself this way. But, all right, let's continue. The next one's a really good one. Cat cows. If you haven't done this before, you might get addicted because it feels really good on your spine. Basically, you want to go into flexion and extension, back and forth. So the full range at each side. You might have to move a little bit to really get the full feeling. And then you can go side to side. I like to do a little lateral flexion as well. And throw my neck in there a little bit. And then we're going to rest for a little bit. And the first exercise we're going to do is push-ups. And I've set it to about a minute of push-ups. You don't have to go the whole time. If you need a break, that's all right. Now the standard push-up has your feet back, your arms maybe a pinch wider than shoulder width, going down like such, flared at about a 45-degree angle. Now if you can't do that, what do? Try knee push-ups. Same thing, except you're on your knees. If you can't do that, that's fine. No problem. Find a shelf, find a wall. Do it against the wall, like such. Find whatever angle challenges you. And work your way up. As soon as you can do wall push-ups and you can do 20 push-ups on the wall, then migrate to something different. Maybe a table, a bench. Maybe you can do this angle like this. As soon as you can do 20 of those, move to a harder progression. The next one I want to do is a glute bridge. Wow, I really do need to adjust my camera all the time. I'm not used to this. Okay, so what you want to do is lie down on your soft surface mat. Put your feet a little bit in front of you, not too far, not too close, kind of in the middle, arms to your side, and lift your hips up so they're in a nice line, Squeeze those glutes. That's the muscle you want to activate here, your glutes. You're not lifting with your legs so much as squeezing those glutes. This is a very beginner, basic glute bridge. It's gonna seem easy for a lot of you, and that's okay. We'll do a week or two practice of this. we'll move to harder progressions. The harder progression being, hey baby, I love you too. Being something like a hip thrust, where we'll start using the surface like a couch or a bench, and we'll start loading weight. But for now, start with that glute bridge. All right, the next up is pull-ups. Again, if you can't do a full pull-up, that's okay. What I want you to try to do is the negative, okay? Get a stool if you need. If you have a really tall pull-up bar, get a stool. Start up in the top position and then just resist the downward motion. You don't have to be able to pull yourself up quite yet. Just resist the down. If you can do a pull-up, that's great. Excuse me. Let's get this out of the way. Like I said, I'm going to offer a progressions list to give you different progressions for your pull-ups. Try to engage the scapula. It's less about getting your chin over the bar like this, and more about pulling your chest to the bar. And if you want to resist the negative on the way down, that'll help as well. All right, now we're going to do lying leg raises, or some people like to call them lying leg lowers, because the lowering portion is just as important as the raising portion. You're going to get flat on your mat and lift your legs, but they don't need to go so high, just as high as your butt still stays on the ground. Your back is going to be flat against the surface of the mat. And you don't need to go so low as your back starts to arch a great deal off the mat. Now you can lift your head as well. You can involve the arms, kind of like a hollow body hold, but and you should feel it all down, especially in your lower abs. All right, and that was the first set of 4 exercises in this quad set. I'm gonna loop back again and do some push-ups. I'm gonna do these for real this time. Now, one thing I really want to get better on myself, and I'm going to tell you now while you're just getting started, is breathing is a huge part of exercise as well. And I didn't really start thinking about this until the last few years. I definitely have not mastered it at all. But in general, my understanding is that you want to exhale on the concentric portion of the exercise when you're pushing away. You know, for example, push-ups. Exhale on the push-up, inhale on the pull down. I'm gonna forget that a ton. I did most of my working out without thinking about this, so it's still kind of ingrained in my head. Well, not ingrained in my head, but I encourage you to keep that in mind as well. We'll do some glute bridges. Really squeeze those glutes. It's not merely about raising your hips up. Squeeze those glutes at the top there. Maybe I'll need to get another camera. I'll think about that. To give two separate views at once, because there's all these low exercises, but then there are these standing up exercises. I'll have to think about that. Okay. So we're doing pull-ups next. If you need a drink of water, that's all right. And the last one of this quad set, and once again, lying leg raise or lying leg lowers. As much as possible, I want you to do these in a slow, controlled manner. Too tall. Oh, there I go again. Forgot to change the camera. Ooh. If you're a little tired, it's all right. Tabletop your legs or put them down. And then jump back in. Phew, that's a good one. All right, we're gonna take a little bit of rest. I'm gonna set up my incline bench here. Ow. That's what happens when you're not careful. We're gonna do, well, I really do not have enough space down here. Gotta make do with what you got. All right. We're gonna do dumbbell overhead press. Now you can do these standing up as well. I do them sitting, well, because I don't have enough space. I'll hit the ceiling if I'm standing. But also it just takes a little bit of the focus off your standing, your, you know, and your feet. Kind of lets you drill down on just the press movement. But whatever works for you. Standing or sitting. Okay. We have incline dumbbell curl. Just going to incline this a little bit more. This is a really good one. Really allows you to get a nice stretch on your biceps. And research suggests this is pretty important for muscle growth. It also changes the resistance profile of the dumbbells. If you're just standing, it's not quite the same. Right, when you do a curl, the most effort is like about halfway. There's not as much effort required for the top or the bottom. But if you're at that angle, it changes it so it takes more effort at the bottom in the stretched position of the muscle. So it's a good one to have as part of your routine. I know I'm too tall. I need to be shorter or figure something else out, but now I'm going to be doing one that requires a weird position. I'm going to be doing squats. Let's move this over. So we want to get down low as we comfortably can, and back up. I'm going to do them without weights at first. I think most people can start without weights. Don't feel like you need to jump on in with 50-pound dumbbells in each hand right away. We're going to go through the progressions, okay? We'll start with body weight squats, then we'll add a little bit of weight, and then we might start doing split squats, jump squats, Bulgarian split squats. So don't worry, we'll get to the progression where you're all growing as much muscle as you want to grow. But for now, focus on form. Straight back, getting nice and low, slow and controlled movements, like that. All right. So that was the first pass through. Now we're going to do the repeat of the tricep. So we're gonna go back to dumbbell overhead press. Now some of you may want to work on your explosiveness. That's all right. You can explode up and then control, slow the negative. Explode up, slow the negative. Oh, need a break? That's all right. Catch your breath, and then jump back in when you're ready. Oh, thank you. It's small and humble, but it does the trick. Oh, whew. We're gonna take a little bit of rest here. Yeah. How you doing, Jinri? You want to work out? Get some muscles. We're back to the incline dumbbell curl. Oh, again, this is a great one for the biceps. Lie back, slow and controlled. Why am I counting? I don't need to count. I'm used to counting. Take a little break. Jump back in. All right, we'll take a little bit of rest and we'll do the last one of this tricep, which is squats. Again, we're starting with just body weight squats here. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to drink when you need to. Feet about shoulder width apart and down. All right, we're gonna take a minute and a half rest here. Move on to our final, actually second to last quad set. Actually, this one's a tricep, just kidding. All right, I'm gonna set up my flat bench, but for those of you without a bench, that's okay. You can just use a mat. Oh, thanks. I'm working on it. It's a lifelong journey. At around this time, 4 days a week, I do mobility and or strength training sessions. So you're always welcome to join, follow along, whatever works for you. The first one I'm going to be doing here in this tri-set is, actually it's a quad set. RDL. This one's a classic. Again, you don't really need to start heavy here. In fact, I'm gonna just start with 10s. But maybe you even want to just do your body weight. So I'm gonna move this over a little bit so I can be more in the camera. Feet about shoulder distance apart. And this is a hip hinge exercise. So you don't need to lock out your legs. You can have them slightly bent. And while you're keeping that neutral spine, you're going to hinge at the hips. And it's almost like you're pushing your hips forward. But however it feels to you, ultimately you should feel like you're working your hamstrings. That's what this is targeting. Now for me, I'm gonna need a bit more weight than that next time, but again, start light. Honestly, don't injure yourself. It's one of the easiest things to do when you get back into working out or go to the gym. You go just a little bit too hard and then you injure yourself, and then you can't use that muscle for the next month or two. So I'm gonna do some skull crushers. Again, I'm gonna start light. I do them on the flat bench, but you can do them on the ground. Keep your elbows vertical and just lift up. Drop the dumbbells right next to your skull. Slow and controlled movements here, folks. Now, why do I use a bench? Well, it kind of allows me to go a little bit deeper, because otherwise the dumbbells will be hitting the ground, but I can go kind of below the ground, so to speak, on the bench and get more of that stretch in the triceps. But that's only a minor difference. You can do it just as comfortably, more or less as effectively on the ground, on the floor. All right, this one you're really gonna wanna start light. Maybe just your arms at first. Hell, I'll start with 5s. This is the lightest weight I got. We're gonna be doing some lying dumbbell flies. So get back on the ground again. We're on your flat bench. I'm gonna have to move this. Just raise it up. Arms out. If you have a bench, you see you can go a bit lower and really get that stretch in your chest. But even if you can only go this far because you're on the ground, that's okay too. The point here is slow and controlled. You can basically make this exercise do nothing for you if you just whip up like that and let your arms fall with no resistance. That's not the exercise. Really do it in a slow, controlled manner. Now the top part is the part of least resistance. You can probably do half of them just going about halfway and then go up. Some people recommend that. But the point is, the entire time you do want slow and controlled movement. And it doesn't take much weight. at all. All right. Where that one did the chest, now we're gonna get the lats. This is killing me. Too tall. Like you said. I'm gonna start super light. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a bummer. That microphone just ran out of battery, but didn't even tell me. So I don't even know how long I was talking with nothing going through. My bad. These things have no battery power. They're brand new. Disappointed. I saw that meme the other day. That was funny. All right. Rest over. Skull Crushers number 2. Oh yeah, and it said I had an Instagram notification. I didn't see. Hold on, buddy. Wherever you are, I'll go check after these skull crushers. Lying dumbbell flies next. You got 30-second rest. Okay. False alarm. All right, lying dumbbell flies. The one thing that's really challenging about those flies is it can be really hard to not recruit other muscles. So just think about that when you're doing exercises. It's not just about blindly doing stuff, hoping for the best. I mean, that's one way to go through life, and that's cool if you want to do that. But if you want to see the most gains, the most predictable gains, really got to make sure you got the right form and you're recruiting the right muscles. Oops, I need this. We're gonna do some bent over rows. So for any exercise, I'm targeting the lats here. After a few pumps, you should start to notice what muscles are feeling sore, what muscles are starting to shake. And if it's not the right ones, consider modifying your form to target the ones you want to target. All right, we're almost done. This is the last set of exercises And really, it's a mini set of exercises. Starting with some oblique V-ups. So we're gonna get on our mat, do some ab work, starting with the obliques. So these ones here, I'm gonna adjust the camera. Once again, I need a cameraman. That would be handy. What a life. To have someone follow you around with a camera and film your life. Wow, what a luxury. If you have that, show some gratitude, bro. That's pretty advanced. All right, here we go. Get on your side, on your elbow, or some people go even lower, but I like to go up here and then just curve up like that. And again, you're targeting your obliques here. So whatever motion does that for you most effectively is how you should be doing the exercise. And then switch to the other side. Because you got obliques on both sides. Oh, interesting. That was totally an error. Anyways, the last exercise we're going to do, and it's a classic, is the plank. And I want you to do your plank as long as you can. We're not going to repeat it this time. Just hold that plank straight back, tight core, as long as you can. It's going to be the burnout for today's workout. Now you can keep going if you can keep going. That's fine. Oh, that's pretty good for me. I'll go longer next time. I'm just a bit conscientious. We're getting into the mindfulness section, and I want to try to stick to the schedule as much as possible. Maybe I'm a fool for trying to do that, but yeah, I'll try it for a week or so. See how it works out. So if you stuck with me, great job. You did 13 unique exercises, 45 minutes of workout, full body. Congratulations. And yeah, I'll see you next time. And maybe I'll adjust the timings a little bit, so maybe it'll be a shorter workout, slightly shorter workout to give me a bit more spaciousness to explain and demonstrate different variants and not feel so rushed. We'll see. I'll be tweaking a little bit, but for now, I'll be back in a little bit for some meditation really quickly. All right. When I said quickly, I meant really quickly. We're gonna just jump right into it. I had a quote I want to go over, but I'll just go over it next time. We'll just jump straight into the meditation practice and open it up for questions and comments afterwards, as usual. Yeah, there's a lot of quotes I have, but I meditate every day. I'm gonna run out of quotes a lot quicker than anything else, so no worries. Don't wanna mess that up. All right. So once again, this is going to be a self-guided meditation. I'll be doing it for an hour. Check out the schedule page, njb.fyi/schedule. It's right there. You can read more about mindfulness and figure out where I can show you where there's like a link to an app where you get a free month trial and you can start meditating. Join me in the session. So without further ado, let's get started. right. That wraps up an hour of meditation. If anyone has any questions or comments or wants to talk about their experience, this is the period where you can do so. I'll share mine while people are typing them out. Wow, that was really difficult for me. I think it was because my sleep was a little messed up last night, and I actually went to bed early, but my mind was ablaze with all these different ideas and things to do and things I had to deal with, errands I have to run, and so I just couldn't stop thinking about those. And then just as I was about to fall asleep, I thought of a really good idea. And so I was like, I have to write this down. I don't want to forget this really good idea. And so then I write it down, slowly drift to sleep, and have another really good idea. And I did that a couple times. I didn't actually end up going to bed until 3:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something. So it's kind of very not good sleep. And I found myself at times getting a little bit sleepy, but also just less alert to my distractedness, even though I was awake the whole time, if not a little bit drowsy at some periods. Definitely a little bit less on top of catching myself getting lost in thought, where I feel like if I have a good amount of rest, I'm usually more on it, and aware that I've drifted sooner. But yeah, that is what it is. And since it seems like there's no one else with comments, we're already over the time limit, so I'm going to call it here, and I'll see you guys next time.